Hello, Midnight Coders, and welcome to a video about the Midnight Technician. Midnight Technician is a full stack tech repair management SaaS built with Java 25, Spring Boot 4, and Kafka. This was designed to help new developers explore modern microservice architecture hands-on. This isn't just a demo. This is something that you can clone, run locally, and really get a feel for how modern Java systems connect and communicate. So, I'll walk you through what the project is, how it's structured, how to set it up locally, and how you can get involved. So if that interests you, make sure you've got a full cup of coffee, and let's dive on in. So, why was this project built? Um, I created the Midnight Technician um, for junior developers who are looking for a practical, industry relevant example. And my goal was to make something that was accessible and public so that you are able to just grab it, understand it, and use it as a launch pad for your own projects or ideas. Now, each module in the project is its own microservice, and you can get a real exposure to distributed system patterns. So now let's head on over to GitHub and take a look at how you can get started. So once you've navigated to the project, the link will be in the description. Um, you now have two options. You can click on the big green button, copy the link, and clone the project. When you clone a project, you essentially copy a repository to your local machine, which is generally ideal for things like contributing or experimenting locally. This is still normally tied to the original repo. The other option you have is to fork the project. So if you come up here and click on fork, you can provide a name for it in your own repository, or you can pick your own organization if you wish. But then you can create the fork. So when you create a fork, you are creating a personal copy of a repository from GitHub, which is generally ideal for proposing changes or maintaining your own local version. This is normally an independent copy, but it can sync with the original if you would like to stay up to date. Now, if you would like me to create a video explaining the differences and concepts behind Git and GitHub's features, please leave a comment in the video and let me know that you want that. So now, let's take a look at the project itself. So in here is the project. So now I have this opened up in my most productive um, IDE, which is IntelliJ IDEA. I use the ultimate version, so I've got a few extra bells and whistles that don't come with the community version. Now, just as an example, down here in the Services tab, um, I can click on my Spring Boot. You'll see all my services here. I can hit the play button, turn them all on. This just might take a moment, so I'll let that go. There we go. So you'll see here that all of our services started, as well as you'll see the port number that each of these services are running on. Let's go to the website. And here we are on the website. So if I come up to register, fill out some dummy information, dummy password, something totally secure. And if I click on create account, it makes my account. So here I can log in. And because I've already got some dummy data in here, um, I've already got some things already in here. So like I've got my devices, I can click on my device and see what device is going on with what, see what tickets associated with it. I can view my ticket here. I can register a new device. I can make a new ticket. And I can choose what device it is that it's on. And now I can also view history of tickets and see what's going on. But now if I was an employee, I could click on the ticketing view and something went sideways. So what happened here is we don't actually, even though I have the roles, which is why I can see these different tabs, I don't have an employee. So if I was to pop back over to IntelliJ, we can we need to make a post request to our employee module. And that post request is just some basic information about an employee. Um, so once we create our employee, one's been created. Now I can pop back over to the browser. And if I click on the ticketing tab or refresh the page, I now have an employee view because now I am an employee. So here I can clock in. Thanks for logging in. If I'm already logged in, it seems like you're already logged in. So now if I go over here and log out, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for working. And if I try to clock out without being logged in, it tells me that, I need to be logged in first. Down here, I can view the different, I can view the different tickets. And if they're unclaimed, I have the option to claim a ticket. So once I've claimed a ticket, this should have refreshed. Okay, so once I claimed it, it went down here. I think it was this one. Yeah, mobile unit. So now we're in here and this has an employee number of 2, so we can see that there is somebody who's on it. I can add a note, add note, we're good. And I can also save ticket. So that's the employee view. The manager's view has a little bit different information. So here has a way to create an employee, a way to add a customer, add a device, to create a ticket, and to view a monthly report. Not all of these buttons are working, but this is just what the website looks like. Now, if I was an owner of the business, I could go to this database tab, but I don't actually have a web page for this yet. This has not been created. This is where the analytic data is going to come into play when we go and take a look at the rest of the project. So let's go back to the project and take a look at the inner workings. Now, in here, inside of the shared directory or the shared module, there is an env.example, which just simply provides you with the basics for your project setup. These are the environment variables that need to be added to the project. so that everything runs. You'll notice there is Sentry, there is Postgres, Mongo, then we have some AWS access keys for emails, and then we have an email address that we are, and this email address one is only technically used in the email service. So next, you'll want to get your databases set up. So inside of the services and the analytic, there are um, the source main resources. There is a data.sql file that is in both of these directories. One is to get your services and user profile roles set up. I do want to mention that the user roles and the profile will be getting extracted and refactored. This will be getting lifted out of the services database, and it will get put into the websites database. This was just an original piece of code that's been here since the project's inception. So, that being said, let's have a look at all of these projects. So, as I've mentioned, each individual module is itself a microservice. What that means is they're all individual applications. What a microservice is basically a small individual application or service that makes up a project. So if you were to look at a business, like let's say a hospital, the hospital itself is the product, but inside of the hospital, there are many different departments and services that make up what the hospital is. So in our case, there are many different modules or services that make up what the Midnight Technician is. So if we were to look at our analytics, the analytics module simply stores and tracks system events and usage events. So inside of the analytic, there is the MVC design for our controllers, which there are none at the moment, for our models, for our repos, and our services. There is also a config, which configures our Kafka and our consumer for Kafka. The customer module, this one here manages the customers as well as some registration events. So again, if we pop in here, there is configurations for Kafka, for consuming events, for producing events, and then there is a Mongo config because this one has a Mongo database. Inside of the customer, you'll see that we have our general MVC design, as well as this email publisher. And then we have our services, which are a DTO converter, a Kafka listener, and a sequence generator for making unique IDs. Down in our customer devices, this one here is, again, a way to link devices to a customer, such as like laptops to desktops, Internet of Things devices, yada, yada, yada. So in here, again, we have config for Kafka, for consumers, and for the Mongo database. Inside of our controllers, models, and our repos and services. So again, you have the MVC design inside of the device. Email, this one here was a service. You'll notice that this packaging is different. This one here I had AI create. I did a live stream about that. There will be a link in the video or in the description. There is also here a config, which has our Kafka config, our Kafka consumer, and our Kafka producer. So inside of our email services, this one did not do an MVC design, but we also don't have an MVC design in this one. So here we have just a bunch of services. So there's an email analytics producer, there's an email provider, there's an email request listener. So this one be the one that listens to the Kafka service. There's an email template renderer, which renders the templates from the resources folder. This is just so that we can have a general idea of what an email looks like. Because emails are HTML themselves, we just have HTML files that we render into the application or into the email. So then we have um, the template renderer. We have another service here, which takes care of processing emails, as well as we have a SMTP provider. So this would be how we're going about sending the emails. So inside of the employee, this is for tracking the employee related things. And so again, we have config. There is no Kafka in this one. So we have a Mongo config, and there is a web config in this one. This one we'll get into in a different video. That one was going to be for securing the endpoints of the employee. Employees, we have our MVC design, and then we have our general services here for sequencing. Next, we have our scheduling, which our scheduling handles the employee clock in and clock out, as well as we are going to be implementing some weekly shifts and scheduling related events. So in here, again, we've got the Kafka producer, Kafka config, and a Mongo config. Our scheduling contains our MVC, and our services contains some of our events and so this would be the Kafka event service. This would be how we are publishing events. And yeah, and there is the sequencing so that we can log these in our database. Services, this one here just maintains a list of the services that our tech company offers. And again, as you can see, MVC design. Shared, this one here consists of all of the shared information, such as data transfer objects or DTOs, utilities, and other services that happen to be used across the entire project, such as logging, Kafka, DTO converters, and DTOs themselves, as well as a couple of models that are used. The ticketing is used for handling service tickets and their life cycle. So when users create tickets and go to handle tickets. Again, we have our Kafka config, producer, and consumer, as well as our Mongo config and another web config, which was, again, just like the other, going to be used in securing our endpoints. So that's it. That will be covered in a future topic where we dive into how to go about securing communications between services. So if you'd like to find out, if you'd like that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to know when when that video gets produced. Inside of the ticketing module or ticketing package, there is just our MVC design. And then lastly, we have our website. So the website is the front-facing UI that our employees and our customers use. This is built with Thymeleaf. Thymeleaf is our rendering engine here. So again, we keep all of our website pages, fragments, and whatnots inside of our templates. Inside of here, we have our CSS files, our JavaScript files, and whatnots that make up the website. In here, we have a config with our Kafka config, our Kafka producer. We have a REST client config, and we also have our web security for securing our website pages. We have our controllers, features, So this one here keeps track of roles and users, which is where I'll be migrating from the services that I mentioned earlier. Um, and then we have services such as authentication service and Kafka event producers. So that was a high level look at the project. Now let's talk about how you can get involved. So you can join our Discord community. The link is in the description. You can ask questions, get involved with Tech Talk. You can get involved with the community. We, I personally generally stream in there daily. Uh, so you can feel free to jump in and join a chat with me, mute up and just watch, or whatever fills your boots. The Midnight Technician is built for you to explore. It's not just another code base, it's a learning platform. So go ahead and fork it, experiment with it, and see how these pieces connect and see how they intercommunicate. Try to add a new feature, or maybe tweak an existing feature. If you do, I encourage you to make a pull request and share with the community. So if you've enjoyed this breakdown, hit that subscribe button. Lets me it gets me out there to more people, and also it gets you notified on my next live stream. So when I live stream this project, you come join and build this project together. If you've liked the project, hit that thumbs up. It's a great way that helps me reach more developers. So, as always, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and your coffee cup full. Catch you in the next one.